Now, when we think about the arts, we can often spend a good deal of time thinking and appreciating what we might call a finished work. And how often do you stop to consider the journey of the artist or the creator who lies behind the piece? Quite often a work is created because the artist or performer has something they want to say, or an opinion, if you like, that they want to express. Most of the world's greatest works in music, painting, writing, theatre, dance, or any other creative expression, much of what has gone prior to this point has had its foundations in faith in God, as the artist, him or herself, has expressed that faith. And our world has become increasingly secular. We're conscious of that here in Australia. The artworks that are now being created are changing. So is the messaging that often lies behind it as it comes into the public domain. Increasingly, it can be difficult for an individual artist to maintain their faith and continue to express those works that reflects that faith. Joining me today to talk about this is one person who's established a ministry here in Australia to encourage and walk alongside artists, is Sharna Lovell from Arts Chaplaincy International. Welcome, Sharna.
Hi, Keith.
Look, tell us first of all a little bit about what Arts Chaplaincy International is about.
Yeah, so Arts Chaplaincy International is an organisation that supports artists. We walk the journey of life with them, and we bring care both physically, emotionally, and also spiritually.
Now, when you say artists, what are we talking about here? We're not just talking about one genre, are we? What are we talking about?
Yes, so the arts is very diverse. So we cover fashion, film, TV, even musicians as well, and also we have some spoken poets as well. So anybody who is in that creative field, whether they're on a big platform or even if they are just exploring their craft.
And if they're on a big platform, they probably need this as much as anybody, don't they?
Yes, they do. The pressures in the industry can be quite heavy on creative people, and that's my job, is to be a positive space and a positive person to be able just to come alongside them.
And if they're recognised in the street or recognised everywhere they turn, they need the right place to go and the people to talk to, don't they?
Absolutely, yes. They need people who are going to be a non-judgmental listening ear, and somebody that they can know that they can trust as well, and be able to introduce them as well into a community of people who will be able to walk with them.
And did it make sense when I was talking about that things have changed now, and that the arts, which was so much at one time, you'd recognise immediately, you know, because arts were hymns, were paintings, were things identified immediately with the Christian faith. Today it's hard for Christians in the arts, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, especially for Christians, because they come across so many different challenges that can challenge their faith, but also really make them reflect on who they are as a person as well. I find identity is something that is very crucial in artists, in them exploring who they are as a person.
And to be honest with you, the church can be part of the problem too, can't it? Because as I've seen before, that somebody who has a gift or a skill, the church suddenly says, oh, this is an asset for us. We've got some famous person in our congregation. When in fact, they just want to be a member of the church, don't they?
Yes, I like to say that famous people are just normal people, sometimes doing some extraordinary, unusual things. So I feel as a church community, we have a responsibility to provide that place that they can just be who they are without having to perform.
What sort of people have you been working with?
Yeah, so I'm currently the chaplain for Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week. So that's
the advert, friends. That's the advert.
Yes, it is a bit of an advert. So I'm there for events with Mercedes-Benz. So that's anything from the designers to the models, but also the people that are unseen behind the scenes. So that can be the volunteers or just the people who are out the backs, maybe just holding poles out. Yeah, so it's quite diverse.
How do you find that your work, ministry, what you're doing is received by people?
At first it was quite a novelty to have a chaplain in the industry. I found that they were, how does religion work in this space? However, I like to be able to tell people that it's not so much about faith and religion, but it's about being able just to be that listening ear and that support. So I think people are beginning to really realise there's such a need for a safe person and somebody who'll be able to be calm in the middle of such a crazy, stressful, sometimes sometimes confronting environment.
And sometimes you might be hanging around for quite some time before you see that door open.
Absolutely. It's not always as glamorous as it seems. I think sometimes people think that world is very glamorous. However, it's every day. It's the everyday life, and challenges can come up. So, yes, you're right.
And where do you see the greatest challenge and need of the area of chaplaincy?
I find there's the challenges are quite diverse. However, I find that one thing that is quite prominent is the feeling of loneliness and isolation.
Yes.
That feeling that they can belong to a community with people who really understand them and some of the issues that can come up. And also just being in a high pressure situation as well, that can also have its challenges too.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. We shall think about you. We hope that ministry will be there. People will be able to log onto our website and see what you're doing and some of the things that are important. And it's good to see someone following her own convictions and supportive alongside people. It's another way in which people tell a story, really, in modern times.